Welcome, everybody, to Tom and James. It is Friday. James, how are
Tom,
you? How are you?
we missed each other last week.
We did. We did.
What
I didn't
happened,
do
man?
much last week, but I got to do the program with you this week on your live program. And today at 10 this morning, we got to do live with Monkey from your studio, and that was pretty awesome.
Bro, that guy is crazy cool. That's all I got to say.
Yes.
It's crazy cool.
So-
and I know there's going to people that email us and go,
Yeah.
what are you doing there? Okay, whatever.
Listen, this is going to really set people off, all right? This is what, I mean, I don't just talk with people that I'm in agreement with. I mean, you and I disagree on some stuff, you know? I mean, what kind of conversation would that be like? I'd be a liberal if all I did was talk to people I agree with. I don't do that.
Hey, listen, I really love Monkey.
Yeah.
I think Monkey's
and-
show is cool.
Yeah.
The only reason why I don't watch Monkey's show as much as I probably want to is because every time I do, I get like hypnotized by it. I'm lost in watching all the
Well, he's got
sit reps are
he's
cool.
got a lot of followers. A lot of people get hypnotized by it.
Oh, bro, his sit reps are cool. I'm telling you, they're
It's just
really cool.
And then, so, you know, he has incredible friends also. And then, but I look at it, James, I would interview, and I have done atheists before. I don't mind that. I mean,
But Monkey's not an atheist. Monkey
No.
totally loves the Lord. Monkey is learning Bible prophecy from us, believe it or not.
Yeah.
The guy's awesome.
That's kind of crazy in itself. No, but I'm saying I'm going to interview people because, hey, what makes you tick? Why do you believe what you believe? So I will interview people that are completely that I'm in disagreement with. I don't have a problem with that. And I would like to think that the Christian community, especially the Bible prophecy Christian community, can think through enough things to be right in critical thinking, not the way that we are told, the other critical.
You're right. And the overwhelming majority of people that watch us absolutely love Monkey. Are you kidding me?
Oh, they do. Oh, no. And we do. I'm just saying, if people write in that negative stuff, Monkey's fantastic. And I can't wait to do a lot more with Monkey. Okay. Ready? Because it's going to be great. Okay. Here we go.
Let's do it, Hans. I'm ready.
I can ask you about martial law in a minute, but let me go here first. Okay. Because you're like a law expert. Okay. 4-star general compares flag flying Americans to the Taliban. Did you see that earlier in the week?
I did not. I did not see that article. If I did, I probably would have exploded.
Yeah, here's another one for you. This says, this is from Jihad Watch. There's an article that Don Stewart sent to both you and I. I don't think you've had enough time to look at it yet. Taliban and Al-Qaeda combined aren't as big a threat as Trump and his supporters.
My goodness. What is this, that same bozo that made that statement?
Let's see.
Who's making that statement?
I'm trying to figure out who it is that said it this time. No, this is somebody different. This is David Rothkopf.
I don't know who that clown is, but that's
a different individual.
Truly insane.
Not as big of a threat as Trump and Trump supporters. So if you voted for Trump, you are worse than the Taliban. You can see, I mean, you look at this and you go, this is just absolutely unbelievable, the way that people are being marginalized if you don't follow along with the narrative. But again, James, this speaks of the pressure that is there socially that is causing people to conform. If you look back to Nazi Germany, which I know I bring up a lot, but it's fairly recent history for us, and you look at how that peer pressure got the majority of the people to conform and go along with the plan of Hitler. When Hitler's voice was relatively small, percentage-wise, with the percentage of the people that he had following him was small, but yet by the pressure and the loudness of the lies and the social pressure that was there, the people conformed because they didn't want to be left out. They didn't want to be ridiculed. They didn't want to be marginalized. They didn't want to be labeled as a bad citizen. And that same tactic is being used now, is being used globally, but we're really seeing it is in the Western world. Because in the Western world, that's where they got to get the people to shut up. The people who have freedoms. They got to get the people with freedoms to shut up.
It is, and it's based on such a lie.
Yeah.
It's based on such a lie. If we had a president right now in office that was as strong as President Trump, the Afghanistan crisis that we're watching right now would not be happening. Let me reiterate this. President Trump oversaw the withdrawal of 13,000 out of the 15,000 remaining troops in Afghanistan, and there wasn't a single casualty. Not a single one. And you're telling me that people that support that man are more dangerous than the Taliban?
Yeah.
I would like to tell that guy, forgive me for saying this, to proverbially shove it by going over to Afghanistan and planting himself in the middle of Kabul and see if he's more scared of them or Trump supporters. What a pile of garbage. What an absolute pile of garbage. That is absolutely ridiculous. What you are listening to is you are listening to a coward who is seeking to manipulate the hearts and the minds of people who unfortunately cannot see through the lies.
Yep. And people are
ridiculous.
People are not, they don't think. People are just going along with everything that they hear. Okay, that was a guy named David Rothkopf. The other person was a George W. Bush, a former CIA chief.
Go figure. George W. Bush may have been one of the worst presidents we've had too. Give me a break.
You start looking at things, you're going, he was such a globalist. That person's name was Michael Hayden. So you're looking at these guys going, this is what they're all on the right and on the left, so-called right and so-called left. They're all part of the same party.
It's ridiculous.
They have a different name publicly, but you look at what they really stand for, and it's absolutely awful to watch watch the things that we see that are taking place. I'm like, it's appalling. Okay, so I'm going to go to something else. Okay, this came out earlier in the week. Let me pull it up here. This is Dr. Fauci. This is reported from Zero Hedge. The time has come. Enough is enough. Fauci dismisses freedom in call for the medical procedure we've talked about. Freedom in call for mandates. Enough is enough. No more freedom for mandates. After the FDA fully approved the Pfizer thing, Anthony Fauci immediately issued a decree via his permanent CNN propaganda platform that it is time for nationwide mandates. He declared that there was some poll that showed about 30% of the people who are not anti-vax, they were just waiting to get what they felt was the real final stamp of approval, which we got today with the FDA. So anybody that's still not going along with it, you need to suck it up with forget about your freedoms. Arnold Schwarzenegger said something like that when I was gone last week, didn't he? Arnold Schwarzenegger, he went out there and said, hey, you need to just kiss your freedoms goodbye, basically. Did you hear something like that with the good old Arnold? Remember the
no, but listen, Arnold Schwarzenegger is somebody who is unbelievable to me. He continues to demonstrate himself as somebody who, I mean, although his original citizenship, he came from another country, he acts as though he's completely entitled and doesn't really care. And to men like Arnold Schwarzenegger, I would say you might look tough, you might act tough, you might be an actor as though you're tough, but you're nothing but a big fat coward. And that's the reality of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think that he continues to go on to make a bunch of absurd and in many cases obscene statements. And unfortunately, he doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. And forgive me for saying it, but this kind of stuff is bothering me. These are people that hate our country, and Arnold Schwarzenegger destroyed California. Are you kidding me? He made California way, way worse, and that's on the heels of being a guy who won in a recall election.
His was the last recall, and I remember he came out with all these promises and thinking, hey, we're going to have a whole new California.
Oh, he was too busy with his nanny and all kinds of other things to be worried about that stuff, if you remember.
That's right. I forgot all about that. Yep, absolutely. Okay, so I'm looking at all of these different things that are taking place. I want to focus again on back on the Taliban. So Don Stewart sent us this, a real mess on the way. They are thinning down the troops at the airport, putting them back on planes, leaving them, and adding the numbers that have left to make the numbers look better. It's just, it's changing things around, make it sound like they're getting a lot more people out of there. They aren't. This whole thing that's taking place, it seems like it's perfectly intentional.
And they're not even dispelling to us. Look, they won't even tell us that they know how many people have actually been taken.
No.
I mean, think about how absurd this is.
Yeah.
This is the direction that they're going in. And again, they continue to point to us their general disposition with respect to their incompetence concerning these things. And it's frustrating because all I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing the same kind of things happening again and again and again. They continue to lie. They continue to cheat. They continue to steal. This is the kind of stupidity that we see going on.
Yeah. It's, and the Afghan people are absolutely suffering. And they are suffering absolutely horrific things, James. Absolutely horrific. So I'm
it's getting worse.
It is getting worse. So you look at all of the things that America is. I can't believe that judgment hasn't already begun on America. When I look at where we are, you think of all the millions of babies that have been aborted in America. You look at them, James, this report came out just, I think also while I was gone. And we've heard about these things before, but babies that have been aborted alive, there's been organ harvesting going on with them. And you look and you think, this is so repulsive. So what is this for? When you look at what the purpose of abortion is, we know two things it's for. One is it's for so people can just have sex whenever they want it. That is the worship of the sex gods that the Israelites were guilty of centuries ago. Two, you know what the other purpose of what's going on with abortions? It's the preparation for certain medical procedures to be able to have success. So in order that I may live and have my personal safety, their babies are being sacrificed. That's the reality of it.
That's exactly right. And that's the story of abortion. Yeah. I mean, it's the same. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. So what's it to these people? These people don't value human life in the womb. No. So if they don't value human life in the womb, what else do you expect?
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you want to know what the Democratic Party is doing right now while these Afghans are getting killed and America's lives are being threatened and all of that, if you want a really good picture of what that looks like, let me show you. Let me actually play you a video of what all of these yahoos right now are doing. If you want a good picture of what they're doing, give me 44 seconds. Okay, let me play a 44-second clip. This is Chuck Schumer. This guy is mind you, this is the head of the Senate. Okay? This is the guy who is the majority leader of the Senate. And look what he's doing while Afghans are getting killed. While Americans are getting killed overseas because of their incompetence, look at what this guy's doing. This will actually blow your mind. It's really disgusting. Watch this.
Come on. Hey, Chuck, you got the ball, Chuck? We got the music. We got it all. We are the Browns. How's everybody feeling? Check it out. Check it out. Let's go.
Imagine.
There you go. Yeah.
That's what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
That is how they roll. This is the Democratic Party.
Yeah. They don't care about who's dying in Afghanistan because those people are irrelevant. And actually, James, I look at a lot of these depopulation things. It was probably at least 10 years ago doing my prophecy messages. I started probably even 15 years ago, when I started coming up with all this information for plans to depopulate the planet. And I look at what's going on in Afghanistan, and people, there's these leaders that do not care about anyone. They don't really care about Black lives. They wave the Black Lives Matter flag, but they don't really care about Black lives. We've talked about that in the inner cities. They go to defund the police. We look at what's going on with this other medical procedure right now, and I look at the end result of what's coming with that. I think there's a plan behind that too, which I can't get into right now. But someone sent me this verse the other day when we were talking about all of this medical procedure stuff and babies being aborted. And it was Satan talking to God. Skin for skin, a man will give anything to save his life. That's what he was talking about with Job. when he's arguing with God about Job. Let me touch his body. Okay, you can do this to Job, but you can't do that. Skin for skin. Satan knows that. Satan has known that all along, that men will do anything in order to save themselves. So if they are told this will save your life, well, let me take it. You're going to die if you don't get this. Let me take it. So now we have these mandates that are going all over the place because some people are thinking through the process and saying, something's wrong with all of this stuff. Doesn't make sense to me. Listen to this one. I want to ask you about this. 100%. You might say, no, this is just crazy conspiracy talk, which it might be. But I'm not so sure anymore because I keep hearing about it. FDA approval has been accelerated to unleash medical martial law as cover for the collapse of the Biden regime. Do you think that's just crazy talk? I don't know. I don't know either. No.
Probably not at this point. I don't think they're accelerating it for that point because I think they're using Afghanistan to do it.
Well, I think that's part of this whole thing. Is I look at Afghanistan. Do you think that Kamala Harris is going to be installed as president?
God, I hope not. The only thing that I could think that would be worse than Joe Biden being president is Kamala Harris being president. Mm-hmm. She is an absolutely evil woman. Why? Because she is ignorant. She doesn't know what she's doing. And she got where she got through using her body, number one. And number two, she got where she got because of her race. She played on that game. She is a racist herself. And listen, this is what happens. Look, when you Biden bragged about this. He said, I chose Kamala because she's a woman and she's black. She's really not black. But anyway, I'm really proud of the fact that we are the most diverse cabinet in U.S. history. They talk about this Secretary of Defense, right? He is the first black man to become the Secretary of Defense. What a true accomplishment, except for the fact that he's incompetent. He doesn't know what he's doing. Look, listen to this. Listen to what I'm about to let you hear. From his own words, watch this guy. Watch this guy tell us right now. Watch this guy tell us that he does not have the capability to defend beyond the airfield in Afghanistan. And even then he's going to gawk. Listen to what he says. And what he says is obscene. Watch this.
Helene?
This question is for both of you, and I'd like for both of you to answer. It seems like, I know we keep harping on the same thing, but it feels like the video is not matching the audio right now. It seems to me like barring a lobotomy by the Taliban, you have three pathways ahead of you. One, you can expand the perimeter and establish a corridor into Kabul to get our Afghan allies out. Two, you can extend the August 31st deadline of withdrawing. Or three, you can just leave the tens of thousands of Afghans who've helped us over the past 20 years behind.
He's going to select option. I'm just telling you, whether or not he answers the question this way, they're selecting option three. They selected option three before they did this. But anyway, continue, take a listen.
Which one is it going to be?
Well, first of all, as I said, Helene, we're going to evacuate everybody that we can physically possibly evacuate, and we'll conduct this process for as long as we possibly can. We will continue to deconflict issues with the Taliban.
I hate the word deconflict. Can I just tell you how much I hate that word? Because deconflict means he's going to run away from conflict. In other words, our whole idea is to avoid conflict in order to do this, when in reality, peace is not the absence of conflict. Oftentimes, peace involves the engagement of conflict in order to produce the result necessary to create the kind of condition in order to bring safety to American citizens. So listen to him continue to lie.
And we will stay focused on securing the airfield. We cannot afford to either not defend that airfield or not have an airfield that's secure, where we have hundreds or thousands of civilians that can access the airfield at will and put our forces at risk.
But that doesn't answer the question. I mean, you're still saying you're focused on the airfield. These people can't get into the airfield.
Well, we're going to do everything we can to continue to try to deconflict and and create passageways for them to get to the airfield. I don't have the capability to go out and extend operations currently into Kabul. And where do you take that? I mean,
it's not that I don't have the capability. It's that I don't have the willpower or the desire to do so. That's what he's saying. Yeah. But anyway,
far can you extend into Kabul? You know, and how long does it take to flow those forces in to be able to do that?
So it sounds like you're saying this depends on diplomacy with the Taliban. That's it. That's our only option, is getting them to agree to do this.
By the way, these are like the liberal reporters. I didn't know they had it in them.
I didn't either.
They're beginning to actually report here.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
I think it's amazing. And watch this guy continue to cower. Watch it.
Well, let me add something here, Helene.
He looks around. I don't know what to do. I don't know. And then the guy who's about to talk right now, mind you, is the guy who said the biggest danger to the United States military right now and the United States of America was white rage. And he needed to learn how to read some books and educate his people. This guy has never won a war. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and he's nothing but a big fat coward. Okay. But let's listen to what he has to say.
We got a couple entry control points.
By the way, isn't it funny? He looks like he's an Eagle Scout. I don't know how many medals he puts on him just to make him look really pretty. But anyway, I just have to comment on that. Anyway, let's let him go.
Up a north one, east one, and a third one at Abbey Gate. They're currently manned with consular officers, Marines. This is all part of the perimeter. Messages have gone out by various means of communication from the State Department to American citizens and others. And they're being told to go to those gates. Right now, we're processing at about, I think the last report was about 120, 130 an hour, something like that at the north, and about 340, 350 an hour, something like that at the south gate. So right now, there's a steady flow of people. Now, as that goes on, I think those numbers will continue to grow. And as those messages go out, and I would tell you that for the American citizens, passport holders, the Taliban and the State Department are working on a facilitation. I got it, but they're working on a facilitation measure. So
I'm looking at this. Is okay. First guy gives no answer. This other guy gives maybe even worse answer. So
absolutely
listen, he said passport holders. Okay, Taliban has been confiscating all the passports. So you just admitted ain't nobody getting out for the most part because you don't have a passport.
100%.
Yeah, it's like you're going on vacation.
Worse than that, Tom, or worse than that. We're processing people with fictitious passports and still letting them in.
Yeah, and letting them in. Yeah, so you can get Taliban that are able to get passports that they just took from some people that they killed. And then we tell them to make it to this port or that port. Well, they can't even make it there. I mean, this is just appalling what they're doing to these. They don't care.
It's egregious. It's truly egregious. It's truly egregious. And the president of the United States doesn't know what he is doing. No. He just doesn't know what he's doing. He continues to go crazy. And it's amazing to me how he backs down after saying he's got it all under control. Then he goes on and tells everybody that everything is fine when his own people are saying it's not fine. I just think it's absolutely funny. Probably one of my favorite things. I mean, and I think it's just really, really funny to hear it. One of my favorite things is to listen to the reporters that used to defend Biden, right, actually speak against him. And to me, I just think, and we've already shown this. We've talked about this, right? Like I've shown you the examples of this. It's crazy. On our live show that we did earlier in the week, I played some of these videos for you. It's astounding to me. Yeah. It's completely astounding to me.
Well, the one with Jen Psaki, when she's asked,
"Oh yeah, I can bring that up."
Well, we're going to see what the Taliban decides what they want their position to be in the international community.
Oh yeah,
you're turning over to the Taliban. Taliban, do you want to be the leader?
Everybody, today on the Charlie Kirk Show, a very special.
Sorry, that was bad. I left the volume on. No, let me show you. Okay. I would love to show you this.
People need to see this.
Yeah, please repeat what you said too, because I completely cut you off. I didn't mean to do that.
So no, that's okay. So Jen Psaki, James is going to play here in a second. She's asked the question, and she actually will say this. Listen to everybody. She's actually going to say, well, it depends on what the Taliban, what they want their position to be in the international community. In other words, if the Taliban wants to be the leaders, then we're going to let them be the leaders. It's diplomacy. By the way, the Pope has said the same thing.
Oh, and listen, she rehearsed this. She wanted to say this. If you remember, you'll see in this, when the question gets asked, and I'm going to play the audio clip so you can just listen to it. When the question gets asked, okay, you're going to see her hesitate. Actually, I'll show the video. You'll see her hesitate. And when she hesitates, she'll correct herself and then give it about 20 seconds. And then she'll say what she wanted to say beforehand, right? So watch her hesitate here. I'm going to point out the point where she hesitates, and then I'll point out where she says the same phrase again. Okay, listen.
The Taliban is clearly on the march. Your objective is to have a negotiated political settlement. What gives you confidence the Taliban is interested in that?
Well, the Taliban has to make an assessment.
Okay, remember those words. The Taliban has to make an assessment. I'm going to rewind and watch her correct herself. She says the Taliban has to make an assessment, and then she corrects herself and goes back, and then she'll say that same phrase again, which shows you she had it already rehearsed because it was their plan to bring the Taliban into the global community. This is Revelation 13 being set up for. I'm telling you this right now, but take a listen to what she says here. This is pretty crazy. Watch. I'm going to rewind it. Listen to what she says.
The Taliban is interested in that.
Well, the Taliban has to make an assessment. One, we have also
she corrected herself.
That the Afghan National Defense Security Forces would be strengthened, as would the Afghan political leadership, if they were to have more success in fighting back. There's no question about that. We're not hiding from that in any way, shape, or form.
Yes,
the Taliban also has to make an assessment about what they want their role to be in the international community. And I know that Ambassador Khalil is up.
Okay, so did you hear what she just said? Let's go back. I just want to go back to the very beginning so that you can hear her begin to answer the question, because it's very important. I want you to catch this, and then we're going to go to 28 seconds later or 20 seconds later. Listen to what she says here.
Your objective is to have a negotiated political settlement. What gives you confidence the Taliban is interested in that?
Well, the Taliban has to make an assessment. One, we have also.
Okay, the Taliban has to make an assessment. One, and she corrects herself, right? Now watch her now work herself back into that statement.
Reform. The Taliban also has to make an assessment about what they want their role to be in the international community. And
can you see it? Mm-hmm. She initially wanted to say from the very beginning, the Taliban had to make an assessment as into what they want their role to be in the international community. Yeah. She cut herself off because she didn't want to seem so excited to jump into that statement. Yeah. Then she rolled it back in. She's not even sophisticated enough to cover up what her actual intentions are.
Hey, I'm going to throw something else out to you, because you commented earlier in the week on your program about the geopolitical thing. All right. So check this out. This article says this, and this totally goes along with what the Biden administration has done. Ready? Are you sitting down, James? Listen to this. Russia and Saudi Arabia signed military pact amid Biden chaos in Afghanistan.
Holy smokes.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
So, yeah. So you look at it. Yeah. I mean, you look at this. We don't have time to pull up all the maps and everything, but will you give everybody a brief rundown like you did on Tuesday with the geopolitical shift before we sign off, and any of your closing thoughts too?
Look, this is just really interesting, okay? And what I can do is I can pull up a little bit of a map so people can understand. I'm going to be very brief about it. If you want more insight on it, you can go back to many of the videos that I've done, or you can go back to the live show that I did with Tom earlier in the week. I really do get into a lot of this stuff, but let me just bring this up to you right now, okay? First of all, we start with Afghanistan. Now, if you don't know where Afghanistan is on the map, just look at my picture that just popped up in the corner, okay? If you look at where my picture is up on the corner, that is where Afghanistan is right now. Now, I'm going to drop myself to the lower corner so that now you have got an eye marker for where it is. Take a look at the southern border of Afghanistan. Take a look at the western border of Afghanistan. To the south, you've got Pakistan and nuclear power. To the west, you actually have Iran. Iran has its own series of things that they're going with. They just announced, by the way, in light of the weakness exhibited by the Biden administration, they just announced that they are now have already enriched their uranium to 60% purity. Okay, that's a remarkable number, by the way. We're darn near weapons grade at this point, right? So now we've got all kinds of instability going on. Perhaps the greatest of all the instability pertinent to the story that Tom just mentioned, because I'm not going to get into the implications of the Mediterranean, Libya, Turkey, Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia. There's a lot of that that's going on there. But for purposes of what we're talking about, the greatest problem that Saudi Arabia is going to face is what's going on in the Persian Gulf. Okay, now when you look at Oman and when you look at the UAE and even Iraq to a degree, there are pretty normalized kind of relationships, type of relationships going on with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia doesn't do well with Yemen to the south. And we know that they are in big trouble because the Houthis in Yemen were declared by Joe Biden as actually being a non-terrorist organization. So they continue to make problems for Saudi Arabia. Riyadh specifically, very upset by everything that's going on. The royal family has already chimed in on it. And the biggest problems that they are going to be facing right now are problems that are emanating from the Arabian Gulf, or specifically the Arabian Peninsula, right? From the Red Sea and from the Persian Gulf, okay? Now, we know beyond any shadow of a doubt that in the Persian Gulf, Russia has some standing. We know that because Iran is giving it to them on their southeast border. So we know that they kind of sit right there. And we also know that, that Russia has a huge presence in the Red Sea because of the agreement that they struck up with Sudan to create a naval base that's over there. So you've got people in the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt that are concerned about that kind of arrangement. But it's interesting because Putin's even being friendly with Egypt. And what's basically happening is Putin is saying, I'm going to make a military agreement with you, Saudi Arabia, because you have interests that need to be protected in the Persian Gulf. You have interests north of you in Iraq that need to be protected. You have interests that are on the other side of the Jordan that need to be protected. And you have interests down in the south, Yemen and Oman, that need to be protected, as well as Ethiopia, where the Yemenis base is bringing a lot of their proxies into the picture. So all of these concerns are an issue for you. Let me, Mother Russia, take care of you. Give me a position off of your west coast onto the Red Sea to allow me to strengthen my forces so that I can protect you, and I will be your protector. Now, the thing that's really funny is I'm willing to bet you that when Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39 happens, that even Saudi Arabia will have a decent relationship with Russia. But the only reason why Saudi Arabia will not seek to attack or defend Israel when Russia attacks Israel is because there are too many interests that they put at risk by doing it, understanding the presence of Russia seeking to defend Saudi Arabia prior. It's going to be like, what have you done? What's got into your mind? Saudi Arabia is going to reject. This is the perfect geopolitical shift that's taking place right now. And are we surprised that Saudi Arabia is basically telling Russia, hey, let's do this? Listen, they're protecting their coasts. What they don't realize is, per the Bible, Russia's going to attack Israel from the north, probably right from Syria. And what's even more interesting than that is Turkey's going to join in. Iran's going to join in. Proxies from Afghanistan very likely will be included in that Iranian number, right? We know that Libya will be a part of that. And by the way, hey, there's a civil war going on in Libya that Russia wants to win, and they're very much going to win. We know the Sudan's going to be involved. We know Ethiopia is going to be involved. Folks, Jesus is coming soon, because the geopolitical shifting that's taking place as a result of this is so radical and so significant, it's not even funny.
Yeah, this is just absolutely remarkable to see all this. Thank you, James, for connecting all of those dots. And you look at this and just think, who would have thought? I mean, unless you study Bible prophecy, that all these nations would be shaping up like this. I remember months ago you said, watch, somehow Russia and Saudi Arabia are going to be entering into an agreement. They're going to get along. I remember you saying that. I can't remember if it was your show or this show, but it was one of them we were doing, or maybe it was a live audience somewhere else. But I remember when you said it, and now we see this just coming out this week, Russia and Saudi Arabia entering into a military pact because Biden is so just destroying what's going on over there in Afghanistan.
And people called me crazy. You know, the very first time I ever said that was when Barack Obama made his famous red line with Syria. And that was years and years and years ago. And look at what's happening.
That was a long time ago. Man, that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. That's back when you were still allowed to talk about Bible prophecy on that radio station that you got fired from.
That's when I could actually talk about Bible prophecy on K-Wave, where I could actually tell the truth. Yeah. But I think Chuck was alive during that time, so that's probably why I could do that.
That was a long time ago.
And then
James,
when local,
I want to talk about other things, but we don't have time today, so we'll have to get back to him next week. Any final thoughts for all of our viewers?
Guys, I'm just telling you, we're in an unprecedented place. We've never seen this before in world history. We've never seen this before in American history. Jesus is coming soon, and more than ever, we need to prepare for that by being as close to the Lord as we possibly can and by standing up for righteousness. Now is the time. Today is a day. We've got to do this. We are running out of time. Jesus is coming soon. Folks, you can't forget this. This is amazing what we're beginning to see materialize in front of us.
Amen. Thank you very much, James. It was great with you today. So we've had a busy week.
Oh, yeah.
You've had a busy week. This is great. And even got to have Monkey on Friday today. So what a great day it's been. Thank you very much. By the way, I'm going to add some more videos. Just thought I'd let you know. We're going to be doing more together. Okay?
Good. Looking forward to it.
Because you don't have enough to do.
I'll always take a few more. Why not?
All right. Okay. See ya.
God bless you.